The bad feeling that saved my life. Hello, my name is Christoph, and I'm a high school student in my first year, so I'm 16 years old. This story took place during the second week of Easter vacation in 2023 when I was 15 years old, and it happened in my mother's house. At that time, my mother had decided to renovate the kitchen because it was really outdated. A blonde guy with blue eyes came to start the work, which involved putting up plastic sheets on the walls and a divider in our living room, which is next to the kitchen. Later that day, I had a dental appointment to pick up an impression. My mother had informed the worker that we'd be back in an hour and a half. But since the appointment was quick, we returned after only 45 minutes. On the way back, my mother suggested we get kebabs and do a good deed by dropping the worker at the train station. When I returned to offer him a ride, I noticed he seemed uneasy, wearing a nervous smile, as if to say everything was fine. I insisted that he join us, and he agreed. On the way, he explained that his name was